Now, I know y'all clicked on this video wondering why I would make the take of Kenjaku and Blackbeard having the same ideology. And I'm going to go ahead and explain that. Now, just to give a little background on why I even thought about this, I caught up on One Piece, I've caught up on JJK, and I started reading the manga of JJK or seeing clips of the manga and stuff like that. And I started to realize that Blackbeard and Kenjaku are more similar than people think. I don't think people equate the similarities between Blackbeard and Kenjaku. Not that I've seen of that, how they move strategically, how they get stuff done, and like their just ideology and how they treat people in general. We're going to go ahead and get into the video. We're going to go ahead and just go step by step. First, we're going to talk about their just straight up ideology. And before we get started, I just ask for a like, subscribe, press the notification bell to get notified when I post. Now, when it comes to their ideology, I kind of see it as like they both have like a thing like where if the fight's not worth it, they're just not going to go out their way and fight it. Or when they're not prepared for the fight, they're not going to fight and stuff like that, right? For example, Shanks pulled up to Marineford. Blackbeard instantly just said, "I'm not ready to fight you guys," and he left. Even back in Jaya, when Luffy got beat up by Bellamy, Blackbeard saw the whole thing, and he just basically said that some battles aren't worth fighting. And I see that kind of with Kenjaku too, because this is spoilers if you haven't seen any of the manga. When Gojo gets unsealed, he starts going at cause Sukuna and all them, right? And Kenjaku has to tell Sukuna that they aren't ready to fight, and like there's still some more stuff that has to be done. Not necessarily like it's the same of like what Blackbeard is, but I kind of see that similar though. Like if you get what I mean. Or even at the end of Shibuya when Yuki showed up, like Kenjaku didn't go all out and he didn't fight Yuki because like it wasn't part of his plan at that moment to fight Yuki. He absorbs Mahito and he uses his idle configuration for his plans, and then he just kind of dips with Gojo and all that. So yeah, I kind of equate both of them because like if the fight is not worth it, if there's not part of their plan, they're not going to go for it. They're not really going to like care to even fight you. And also this kind of goes into my next point of their ideology. If you aren't part of their plans, they will not go out their way to harm you or hurt you, right? We've seen this with Blackbeard many times where if someone's not part of his plan, he's not going to just straight up harm you. When Blackbeard entered Impel Down, him and Luffy got into it for a little bit, right? But he still let Luffy go because Luffy was not part of his plan anymore, where Ace was able to get him to access Impel Down and Marineford. We see this with Kenjaku too. Kenjaku's not going to go out his way and just like hurt everyone, right? He's not going to go out his way and just hurt every sorcerer he sees and just hurt anyone. Like for the longest, he walked around and did binding vows and stuff like that. Like Kenjaku is not one to just go out of his way and then just harm you, if that makes sense. Unless you are actively going against his plan. Spoilers again. So if you haven't read the manga or anything like that, when he invades Tengen's palace, Yuki and Chozo were in his way, so he murked Yuki. Like what I'm basically trying to say is like they're both not absolute evils, even though Kenjaku's way worse than Blackbeard. There's no contest on how much more evil Kenjaku is compared to Blackbeard. But Kenjaku's, I wouldn't say he's an absolute evil. Like he's not going to just hurt everyone and anyone that's in his way. Kind of like when Geto, the way Geto hated every non-sorcerer, Kenjaku doesn't really care to hate all non-sorcerers. Also, they are part of his plan for Tengen because he wants humans to submerge with Tengen, so Tengen becomes more and more like a curse, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've read the manga, so if I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me in the comment section. I'm well aware that sometimes I might be wrong. Now next up, we're going to talk about how they move strategically, how they get stuff done, and how they plan to beat people that are stronger than them or subdue them with their strategics. I think people underrate how smart Blackbeard is. I think Blackbeard is definitely one of the smartest characters in One Piece. Like literally the same time as Luffy. He actually did it a little bit faster than Luffy, but within 2 years he became, not even with 2 years, like within like a year, basically within like a year, he became a Yonko. If I got the timeline correct, because he murked Thatch, he went on the run, became a warlord, went to Marineford, took over Hachinose during the time skip, and after the time skip he was named a Yonko. So I don't know if he was named a Yonko during the time skip or after the time skip, but he was a Yonko. He took Whitebeard's spot as a Yonko. Blackbeard is a smart individual, and we're going to talk about how smart they are, right? Marineford, Blackbeard has no chance of beating Whitebeard. Okay, now I know his original plan was to become a warlord. I don't even know if it was his plan to go get Whitebeard, because at first he wanted to kill Luffy to become a warlord, but he took Ace. I think him taking Ace and Ace getting executed was way better for Blackbeard. I think that worked out way better for Blackbeard than if he just killed Luffy. Whitebeard goes to Marineford. It's basically just a suicide mission because Whitebeard's already old. He has cancer and all that. He's basically out of his prime. He had so many heart attacks during the fight, and Blackbeard knew that because he was on the boat when Whitebeard became sick. And by the way, Blackbeard waited like 20-30 years to even enact his plan, which is crazy. But Blackbeard, after going to Impel Down, he got every single person in level 6, which is the worst of the worst levels. And that's where the strongest people were. That's where Crocodile was. That's where Ace was. That's where Jinbei was. Those are really strong characters. He goes to Impel Down. He gathers up a crew of the strongest people from Impel Down after he said fight for the death. Goes out there. He gets Katarina Devon, Vasco Shot, the big dude, blanking on his name right now, the dude with the island fruit, and he did get Shiryu too. Shiryu was, I think he was in level 6 if I'm not mistaken. Then they go up and Whitebeard's on his last legs. After Whitebeard took out Akainu, or put him out of commission for a little bit, because Akainu was out of commission. He was really in a ravine for like the rest of the conversation. He was really in the ravine until Whitebeard died, and then he came back out, which, I mean, that kind of shows that Whitebeard did win that altercation, but that's neither here nor there. He goes and he knows that Whitebeard's on his last legs, starts shooting him, unloading rounds, kills him. This motherfucker off screen getting the Gura fruit. He off screen, on screen. They raised the black blankets and Blackbeard came out. Man, he didn't want to... hitting one of those. Everyone's surprised. Like, how did Blackbeard do that? It's because he planned it. He planned it out. He moved strategically and he planned it out. And let me give another example. When Blackbeard went to Amazon Lily, he wanted to get Boa Hancock's fruit, which probably wouldn't have worked because that motherfucker is chopped. But Rayleigh comes and Rayleigh foils his plan because Blackbeard doesn't plan on Rayleigh showing up. So Blackbeard is scared because it's like, it's not part of his plan. That's really just not part of his plan. So he evacuates. Even though Rayleigh stated himself that Blackbeard would have beat him if they got into a fight. But Blackbeard planned it so strategically. And I even think that Blackbeard didn't know because the stacks were kind of against him because his crew was already turned into stone besides him. So if he did let go of Hancock, he probably would have been turned to stone. Even though he can't nullify devil fruits with his darkness fruit. He literally stated himself that he probably would be turned into stone too. He didn't want that. So Boa turned everyone back. He took a couple of Marines for prisoner for his next plan, which is to turn his island into an affiliate of the world government, which I have a theory, which he wants to be able to get to the Reverie. I think him wanting to be part of the world government is he wants to go up and invade Marie Joie, but that's a theory for another time. Let's just get back to it. Let's talk about Kenjaku now with Shibuya. Now, Gojo is the strongest. He was named the strongest. Kenjaku could not beat Gojo alone. It's stated that Kenjaku actually lost to a previous 6 eyes plus limitless user before. So Kenjaku has no chance of beating Gojo just one-on-one, right? He gets the disaster curses. He gets Chozo, Hanami, Mahito, and Jogo, and Dagon, all 5 of them. Dagon wasn't part of it, but it was mainly Hanami, Jogo, Mahito, and a little bit of Chozo. They all got Gojo riled up. A bunch of curses appeared from Mahito, right? So Gojo used his domain expansion. That's what Kenjaku wanted. He wanted Gojo to use his domain expansion because once Gojo got out of his domain expansion, Kenjaku shows up and he's in Gato's body, which just completely demolished, like that confuses the hell out of Gojo. He was able to seal Gojo. That is a hard thing to do. Kenjaku strategically planned out everything. He knew exactly what everyone needed to do to be able to seal Gojo. And this whole thing is because he just wants to see what happens with Tengen once Tengen just starts becoming more and more of a curse. I think he wants to absorb Tengen, to be honest with you. And there is even a theory that Kenjaku wanted to absorb Sukuna because I guess Sukuna would technically be a curse, but I think he still would be human. But some people back in like 23, 24, when the manga was still releasing, they had a theory that Kenjaku was going to absorb Sukuna.
Hey yo, JJK chapter 257 kind of got me feeling like Kenjaku was going to return in the worst way. First, let's go back to chapter 249. The very first thing we see is him saying, "My will carry on." And he tells Akagane to add a rule that Megami can activate the merger. And he basically explains his backup plan. Sukuna has undergone the ritual of succession. If I use the culling games as a basis for overriding the originator of the ritual for merging. We see Tengen in a fetus form launch from his body, head to Sukuna. Something about this isn't sitting right with me. When we combine the fact that we now know that Kenjaku was able to manipulate souls in the womb. But we kind of always knew that, but now we know even more. If he inserted himself or a version of himself into this womb. And the very first thing he said in this chapter was, "My will carry on." And right before Yuta finishes him off as the fetus is flying towards Sukuna, he says, "I'm glad I fooled around with this guy at the end, but you guys are next." You guys are next? What if the final boss is Kenjaku in Sukuna's body after activating the merger? Can we picture how fucking scary that would be? Low-key, it makes a little bit more thematic sense because all Sukuna cares about is fighting. There is no real end goal to what he has going on. Daku's been the one plotting a world takeover from the jump. Again, he seemed way too happy to be dying right when his goals are in arm's reach after thousands of years of planning. Something about that doesn't sit right with me. Kind of makes me feel like the Sukuna cycle or whatever you want to call the last 20 chapters was just a distraction from this. I guess we'll see soon. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.
So yes, they both have many ways. They both move strategically. And you can say this with a lot of people. I don't know. I think Blackbeard and Kenjaku, they just both stood out to me when it comes to just making this video because like they have high IQs. They don't fight when they don't need to fight. They both move strategically and they both have stuff planned out. And like I said, they both waited a long time to plan out both of these things. Kenjaku has been doing this for like thousands of years. I mean, I know Blackbeard's only waited for like 20, 30 years. Compared to Kenjaku, that's not as long. But Kenjaku also is like a brain, so he can live as long as he wants, as long as he has a vessel or a body. And speaking of vessels and bodies, we're going to go ahead and go to the next reason. It's because they both have multiple powers. You don't see a lot of people have multiple curse techniques. And in One Piece, no one has ever eaten 2 devil fruits. And if they have, they die. That's what was stated at Eni's lobby, that if you eat 2 devil fruits, you would die. But Blackbeard, he has 2 devil fruits. He has the dark fruit and the tremor fruit. Like with Kenjaku, when we see him go fight in Tengen's place, right? He has multiple different curse techniques from the bodies he's inhabited. That's how he was able to even survive Yuki's black hole, because he used a gravity curse technique, which is not Geto's. It's I think it's Yuji's mom, which Kenjaku is technically Yuji's mom, but he has multiple curse techniques, just like how Blackbeard has multiple devil fruit powers. And they both strategically got that. You know, Kenjaku being the brain, like he can get multiple curse techniques. And we even saw this in Shibuya where when he used idle transfiguration. Spoilers for Elbath. So if you haven't watched Elbath, just go ahead and skip this little part, because I'm just going to say something about Blackbeard real quick. Blackbeard is a son of Rox Zebek, and Rock's actual name is Davy Zebek. There was an ancient ruler, theorized there's an ancient ruler named Davy D. Jones, or Davy Jones, one of the two. And Rox was talking to Emu about Davy Jones. And apparently Davy Jones might have been the king of the world back in the day. What I'm trying to say is that Blackbeard might have the memory of Davy, because there is a theory that Blackbeard has multiple souls. So if he has multiple souls, like let's say he hypothetically has Rock's soul and Davy's soul, they probably have memories of like what goes on. But I don't know how much to put into that theory, but yeah, they just say Blackbeard has multiple souls, and that's why he can inhabit multiple devil fruits. And Kenjaku is also like 1,000 years old. He's ancient, so they both hypothetically could have been like just ancient beings basically. And also another point, just kind of like a last little counterpoint, not a counterpoint, but like kind of like a point, is they both gathered sorcerers and devil fruit users. Blackbeard's crew is full of devil fruit users, and the Colon Games was Kenjaku gathering a bunch of sorcerers for the Colon Games. So they both gathered sorcerers and devil fruit users alike. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. I feel like there might be some other stuff that I might have missed. So if there's anything I might have missed, then just comment it down below. If there's any other like similarities between Blackbeard and Kenjaku that I might have just not even said, like I said, just comment it down below. But yeah, I just hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe. My Discord is linked in the description down below. You know, we talk about anime and all that other stuff. My Twitch is also linked in the description down below. I'm probably going to start streaming, and we're going to have like react days and stuff like that. I'm just probably going to stream like once a week, probably Fridays, maybe like 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, I'm pretty sure. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and yeah, that's all I got to say. Peace out.